In 1997, Walmart walked into Germany with the confidence of a company that had never really lost anywhere before. It was, and still is, the largest retailer on the planet. A company that had successfully exported its low-price, big-box formula across the United States and into several other countries without major incident. Executives assumed Europe's largest economy would simply be the next domino to fall. By 2006, less than a decade later, Walmart had sold off every single one of its German stores at a loss of roughly $1 billion, walking away from the market entirely. Today, we're mapping out exactly how the world's most successful retailer managed to fail so completely in one of Europe's biggest markets, and why the very same company was quietly succeeding just across the English Channel at the same time. Welcome to Faulty Blueprint. Let's open the file. Walmart's German misadventure began with the acquisition strategy itself, which turned out to be flawed from the very first step. Rather than building stores from scratch under its own brand, Walmart acquired two existing German chains, Wertkauf and Interspar, hoping to gain rapid access to prime real estate and an already established customer base. That decision solved one problem and created several new ones. Walmart inherited two separate, incompatible internal systems, inconsistent store layouts, and staff who had been trained under entirely different corporate cultures, all of which needed to be forcibly merged into Walmart's own standardized American operating model. Integrating two fundamentally different retail chains while simultaneously trying to import an entirely foreign management style proved to be a considerably heavier lift than Walmart's leadership had anticipated going in. The pricing strategy that had defined Walmart's success across the United States ran directly into a wall of German retail regulation almost immediately. Walmart's signature everyday low prices approach depends heavily on being able to undercut competitors aggressively, sometimes selling certain items at or below cost specifically to draw customers into stores. German law took a considerably dimmer view of that practice. Strict anti-predatory pricing regulations, designed specifically to prevent large retailers from using their scale to bankrupt smaller local competitors, meant German courts could and did order Walmart to raise prices on specific items, directly undercutting the exact pricing strategy the company had built its entire global identity around. To make matters more difficult, Germany already had two of the most efficient discount retailers on the planet firmly entrenched in the market: Aldi and Lidl, both German-born chains that had spent decades perfecting a stripped-down, no-frills discount model German shoppers already trusted completely. Walmart wasn't just fighting local regulation. It was trying to out-discount two companies that had essentially invented the modern discount supermarket format. Beyond pricing, the deeper problem ran straight into German retail culture itself, and this is where most case studies on Walmart's failure focus their attention. Walmart's American retail identity is built heavily around visible, enthusiastic customer service. Cheerful greeters stationed at the entrance, friendly small talk at checkout, and store employees actively encouraged to engage customers in conversation throughout their visit. German shoppers, by contrast, generally preferred a far more reserved, efficient, and private shopping experience, one where customer service meant staying out of the way rather than performing friendliness. Walmart's attempts to import its trademark warmth translated poorly, with German customers frequently describing the greeters and chatty staff as intrusive rather than welcoming. Compounding that mismatch, Walmart also attempted to bring over internal corporate rituals that worked fine in American break rooms but landed strangely in German ones, including company chants and forced morning cheers that German employees, operating under a considerably more formal workplace culture, generally found uncomfortable and, at times, openly resisted. Labor relations added another significant layer of friction. Germany's co-determination laws give workers and unions considerably more structural influence over company decisions than American labor law typically allows, and Walmart's highly centralized, top-down management style clashed repeatedly with that expectation of local autonomy. German store managers, accustomed to a reasonable degree of independent decision-making authority, found themselves reporting into a rigid American corporate hierarchy that expected strict adherence to centrally dictated policies handed down from headquarters. That mismatch bred ongoing friction with both individual employees and the labor unions representing them, adding a steady undercurrent of internal resistance to a company already struggling to win over customers from the outside. Even Walmart's famously efficient supply chain, one of the company's genuine core competitive advantages in the United States, struggled to translate cleanly into the German market. Walmart's American logistics network was built around a highly centralized distribution model, optimized for the specific geography, road infrastructure, and store density of the U.S. market. Germany's retail landscape operates on a considerably more decentralized, regionally fragmented supplier network, and Walmart's imported logistics systems proved inflexible when confronted with that different structure, driving up operating costs that industry analysts estimated ran 15 to 20% higher in Germany than in comparable American operations. Higher labor costs compounded the problem further, with full-time German staff commanding wage premiums reportedly around 19% higher than comparable UK positions, squeezing profit margins that were already thin thanks to the pricing pressure from Aldi and Lidl. By 2006, the financial reality had become impossible to ignore any longer. Walmart Germany was reportedly losing somewhere between $200 and $250 million annually by that point, on top of the roughly $1 billion already sunk into the original acquisition and years of subsequent operating losses. That July, Walmart formally announced its exit from the German market entirely, selling all 85 of its remaining German stores to domestic rival Metro AG, and booking a final pre-tax loss of approximately $1 billion on the entire venture. It remains one of the most heavily studied case studies in business schools worldwide, on the risks of globalization done carelessly. Here's the part that makes Walmart's German story genuinely more interesting than a simple tale of one company failing to adapt. At the exact same time Walmart was struggling in Germany, its UK operation, built around the Asda supermarket chain acquired back in 1999, was quietly succeeding. Asda kept its own established British branding largely intact rather than being rebadged as Walmart outright, retained considerably more of its existing local management structure and supplier relationships, and operated within a British retail culture and regulatory environment that simply proved more compatible with Walmart's underlying low-price model than Germany's did. The contrast is genuinely instructive. Walmart didn't fail across Europe as a monolithic market. It failed specifically in Germany, a market with unusually strict anti-predatory pricing law, two uniquely dominant homegrown discount chains, and a retail culture that actively resisted the specific style of customer engagement Walmart had built its entire brand around, while succeeding just across the channel, in a market with a different regulatory environment and a very different acquisition strategy behind it. So here's the pattern running through Walmart's German collapse, and it's worth naming clearly. This wasn't a failure of Walmart's core business model in any general sense. It was a failure of assumption, specifically the assumption that a strategy proven successful in one cultural and regulatory environment would translate cleanly into a fundamentally different one without meaningful adaptation. Walmart brought an American pricing strategy into a market with anti-predatory pricing laws built specifically to block it. It brought an American customer service culture into a market that valued efficiency and privacy over friendliness. It brought a centralized management style into a labor market structurally built around local autonomy. Each individual mismatch might have been survivable on its own. Stacked together, across nearly a decade, they became genuinely unsustainable. If this changed how you think about what it actually takes for a massive company to expand internationally, let us know in the comments which specific misstep on this list surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to Faulty Blueprint, because next time, we're breaking down every other major American retailer that tried and failed to crack a European market, and the very different reasons each one went wrong.